Welcome to the MSDW podcast. I'm Jason Gumpert, editor at msdynamicsworld.com, and this is a special episode sponsored by k-eCommerce, an industry leader in ERP integrated e-commerce and e-payment solutions. My guest is Louis Mousseau, president of k-eCommerce. We will be discussing the company's recently launched payment portal and payment extension for Dynamics GP. As Louis will explain, a streamlined and integrated e-payments offering provides GP users with a range of benefits beyond the ERP's out-of-the-box payments capabilities, and it's distinct from more traditional e-commerce in some key ways. We also discuss some use cases, security, and the solution's implementation. Okay, well, Louis Mousseau, welcome to the MSDW podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and about k-eCommerce?
Hey, Jason. Thanks for having me. So Jason, I'm the president of k-eCommerce. I'm also executive vice president at a company called MediaGrip, which recently acquired k-eCommerce back in December. So we're now delighted to be part of a 600 people plus commerce company. k-eCommerce has been around for a long time now, nearly 20 years. We've been helping companies sell and grow online predominantly. We're an industry leader in ERP integrated e-commerce and e-payment solutions designed for Microsoft Dynamics. So basically our platform is built around the ERP and is built in a way to help ease the onboarding and ongoing operations of an e-commerce website. We support both B2B and B2C sales model, and we also help customers with e-payment, as I've mentioned. Those e-payment solutions are also integrated to the ERP, which makes it much easier for our customers for our end users to capture payments, be it in the offline world next to their ERP, or basically push this to their own customers in a self-service way through a payment portal solution.
All right, and the payment portal and the payment extension model are still relatively new for k-eCommerce. Can you tell us a little more about maybe what they are and what some of the differences are between the online payment solutions and more typical e-commerce concepts?
Sure. That's an excellent question. So in a nutshell, e-commerce is all about selling goods or services online, right? And an e-commerce platform would normally include things like a shopping cart, a product catalog, the ability to process payments, right? To pay for the goods you're buying. In the case of k-eCommerce, our solution does a bit more than that. We embed a CMS, for example, which enables businesses to manage their complete website operations, and of course a full suite of features that are seamlessly connected to the Microsoft Dynamics ERP. So we can leverage, in other words, all of the data that's already in there, and we can push back data as well as transactions occur online to Microsoft Dynamics. So that integration it goes both ways, right? We'll also support various business workflows that are enabled through the ERP. Think of, custom pricing lists for a certain class of customers. That would be a good example of that. So that's typically what e-commerce does. Of course, ours, as I said, is a bit more than just a shopping cart. It's a web content management. We also do all the hosting, PCI level 1 integration, so that customers can basically expect us to manage the entire operations relating to their e-commerce business. E-payment is really just about making or accepting payments online, right? So if you think of e-payment in conjunction with an e-commerce website, of course you could pay at the moment of purchase, but in B2B it's the exception. Most transactions will be paid to accounts, So then you want to enable your customers to basically self-serve every month, every now and then when their bill is due, and affect payments to their accounts. And similarly for the extension, which is the same thing as the portal that you basically provide to that our end users would provide to their customers for them to self-serve and pay. The extension would be used by our customers' internal staff when people visit the stores or when people phone in to pay their bill. So rather than re-entering in an external terminal or all the customer's information or the information that pertains to a specific transaction or specific invoice, our payment extension will adapt as with the ERP flow that's followed by the customer service agent. So it's about saving time and money. It's also about avoiding errors. So that's what e-payment is all about, Jason.
All right. Why would a business that already has an e-commerce store want to use either a payment portal or perhaps a payment extension? Can you give some examples that would shed light on that?
Well, it would naturally come in a second stage in our experience, right? Very often people will start by trying to push towards the web some purchases, right? In the B2B space, you'll try and incent your customers to do more and more of self-purchasing. And eventually, as customers' usage or mature around the self-service model, you will want to basically ask them to settle their accounts online without phoning you. And it's not just about call deflection, it's also about providing a better self-service experience, available 24/7 online. It's convenient. Customers don't need to wait through a phone queue to be able to finally process their payment. And they can retrieve important information about current or previous invoices. So that would be, that's how they would use Payment Portal. They would add it to a logged in area of their e-commerce site.
And is there an example of maybe using the payment extension?
Yeah, for payment extension, as I think I might have mentioned earlier in the interview, if customer service agent receive phone calls, in the old days, they had to basically re-enter pretty much all of the information that pertained to the customer, to the transaction, and the invoice into the terminal. And they would need then, after they received the payment confirmation from the bank, they would need to enter this information back to the ERP. So the payment extension is used to remove all these steps and really remove friction in the actual payment processing of those invoices. As I said earlier, the extension will adapt both in terms of data and its capabilities based on where the CSR is in GP, depending on the screen they're using of GP, and all of the customer and payment related information will flow through the terminal, our payment extension. And once we've acquired the payment and confirmed with the merchant, we'll push this information back to the ERP.
So many people who work with Dynamics GP would know that it does already allow you to capture payments. How do Payment Portal and Payment Extension add to or improve this functionality?
Well, it's fully integrated to Dynamics GP, both Portal and the extension.
Okay, well, let's talk a little more about what that means then. How does Payment Portal integrate with Dynamics GP? Can you talk about the data or the workflows that are really integrated between them?
Sure. Well, the invoices in Dynamics GP, they integrate to payment portal, so customers basically can access, retrieve their invoices, and and effect payments. The payments, the payment methods that have been added to the payment portal, or vice versa, will integrate directly back to Dynamics GP.
And let me put the same question to you for payment extension. How does it integrate data and workflows that integrate into GP?
Businesses process all transactions from directly within Dynamics GP normally, right? So our payment extensions interface, which we call Smart User Interface, actually updates its data depending on what records an end user is looking at in GP. If you open a customer record, for example, the payment extension window will refresh with that customer's specific data.
Are there key business benefits of that GP integration with either payment portal or payment extension that you would like to highlight?
Oh, there are many. I think, first and foremost, you eliminate the need for manual entry. So if all the information is already in the ERP, why would I need to rekey it into a payment systems if it's all electronic anyway, right? We eliminate the possibility of human error. Every time we speak with customers, they tell us how often the payment information entered into those external terminal ends up being wrong. And it means, chargebacks for them. It means unhappy customers. It means sometimes business sold at a loss. It saves the business a lot of time, and again, keying all this information in that system and rekeying back the payment confirmation information to GP takes a lot of time. So if I can save every time I get paid 5-10 minutes of work, and I add it up through thousands and thousands of payments that I receive year in, year out, you get the math, right? The numbers add up and it goes quickly. So you can save the business money. And I think, generally we provide also a tool for, as I said earlier, for companies to improve the service they provide to their customers. I do not want to have to phone my phone company every month to make my payment. Perhaps I use a bank site, but in my case, I'm not using the bank site. I'm going directly to my telecom provider and make my payment with my credit card system. I value the convenience of being able to do this, and it might very well trigger an additional purchase from me, or it might very well impact my loyalty to that provider over the long run. And I hate, personally, waiting on a phone queue just for a simple matter like a payment processing transaction.
All right, excellent. So you've talked about some of the ways that it's a benefit, both, I guess, to the workers inside the company and also to the customer experience. Can you speak a little more about what some of the specific benefits are to the customers, things that they will notice when payment portal and payment extension are implemented?
Yeah, sure. So in addition to being able to view their, for example, their history and pay their bills online on a 24/7 basis from anywhere in the world, there's additional flexibility and convenience that comes with portal. Payment portal let customers make full or partial payments on multiple invoice with a variety of payment methods, right? All these business rules are, of course, configurable. Some of our customers may not want to enable customers to pay a more recent invoice before an older one, but these are configurable. Payment extension also provides businesses, so the end users, with the ability to do more than process a single credit card transactions. For example, you can enable authorization uplifts if there are additional fees, which can be very convenient. You don't need to phone back the customer and reprocess the card. And as I've mentioned earlier, because we integrate the data is integrated between payment portal or payment extension and GP. All of the customer payment information will flow through from GP to the payment extension at the moment of transaction, thereby enabling, the avoidance of re-entering the information, avoidance of errors, saving time, and of course, right, both payment extension and payment portal support ECH and AFTs, which are very important for B2B because most of these transactions should not be, of course, settled through an expensive credit card payment.
All right. Well, let's talk security for a bit. Protecting payment data is obviously a top priority. I know k-eCommerce obtains annual PCI Level 1 certification for your products. What other security measures do you have in place?
We often look at it from an environment or a process or a standpoint, but if you put yourself in the shoes of end users or people who phone to make payments, they're very, very often quite uncomfortable with the notion of providing payment information over the phone. And it's also a risky business practice for any business, right? What stops anyone from keeping that information in their pocket, right? So when customers subscribe to payment extension, whether they're using payment portal or not, they will have the capability of sending a URL to their customers who will in turn be able to click on that link, will receive an email notification to make a payment, will click on that link, and will be able to process securely a payment transaction with the information flowing back to the ERP, but without ever being mentioned to a CSR, for example. Right, so that's another area where we promote security in a way, right? By providing the capability to businesses to not actually take credit card information over the phone.
Absolutely. I think the days of reading out your credit card or over the phone are ending quickly, so it certainly makes sense. Okay, let's talk a little about implementation. How long does it take to get Payment Portal and Payment Extension up and running?
The implementation is very simple and fast. Obviously, if you want to add a portal to an existing e-commerce site, it's a bit more work because it's got an end user interface that you need to worry about. But generally, within 24 hours, our customers, the businesses who use our service, will be able to capture payments.
Okay, very good. Well, it's certainly an interesting and obviously valuable product. Customer experience benefits, the streamlining and automation benefits are really interesting to hear about. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me about it today.
Great, Jason. Thanks for having me.
This has been another episode of the MSDW podcast. My thanks to today's guest, Louis Mousseau of k-eCommerce. For more information, check the description in the podcast. You'll get links to a demo and other details about k-eCommerce's payment portal and payment extension. If you have any other comments, feel free to reach out to me by email, jgumpert@msdynamicsworld.com. Until next time, this is MS Dynamics World, signing off.